Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be discussing the Jordan 4 Infrared. Specifically, we'll be discussing some release info, how to cop, and of course, some resale predictions at the end of the video. The Jordan 4 Infrared releases on June 15th in the US, while the Europe release is pushed back potentially to the 24th or later. Retail is $200 for men's sizes and $140 for grade school. Stock between all sizes combined worldwide just over 140,000 pairs, which is just hardly above average for Jordan 4, so don't expect these to be too easy to get given their demand. Also, correction on the stock for the recent military Black 4s. There should have been around 180,000 of them released, which is above average for Jordan 4. But that doesn't matter, of course, because the demand was absolutely insane, as you guys know on those. Anyway, regarding resale for these infrareds, we will cover that towards the end of the video, as always. Specifically, for this how to cop, we'll be going in chronological order, along with exactly how to efficiently manage your time and set up for this drop, since a lot is going to be going on at once. But prior to discussing the first come first serve online drops though, remember I will always post the full site list on my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and personals for you, along with any urgent updates such as the exclusive access that we already saw today on Nike sneakers. Also, please make sure that you don't forget to sign up for the Flex app reservations. This is one of the best ways to get pairs, as well as asking your local foot stores about their procedure for the leftover pairs. Furthermore, expect there to likely be Finish Line and JD Sports early status access for in-store as well as online a couple of days before the drop. Make sure you're following my Twitter, as I will tweet out when these go live. Now, moving on to the online first come first serve releases, we'll only be discussing the US ones today since the Europe drop is delayed. At 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we may be seeing Undefeated drop unless they do announce a drop for 11 a.m. Eastern Time, which they have been doing sometimes as of the recent drops. Before either of these times, though, make sure you are signed into your Undefeated account, as it is required for this site to check out. Be ready to solve a checkpoint captcha as well, and if you don't have access to a Shopify monitor, you can try refreshing the search page for AJ4, but your chances of copying here are going to be very slim since it is Shopify. Now, moving on to the confirmed 10 a.m. Eastern Time drops, this is where the fun begins as usual. Since there's going to be a lot to focus on, I'll guide you and suggest to you how to efficiently manage your time as usual. First, I would suggest going for Hibbett as your first come first serve choice once again at exactly 10 a.m. Eastern Time, since Hibbett will be one of those to sell out the quickest, but it is a great manual opportunity. We've been suggesting this for over a year now, and I don't want to change it since it's been working out very well for you guys. You might get the press and hold captcha loop when going for Hibbett, so just one tip to prevent that. Just like we discussed in the prior how to cop guide, go to the coming soon page on the Hibbett calendar right before 10 a.m. Eastern Time, click on the Jordan 4, then scroll down slowly until you see sizes. If you scroll too quickly, you'll often get caught in that Perimeter X captcha loop. And my biggest advice in general here is to use Apple Pay on your mobile device for the most efficient checkout. Or, as an alternative to Hibbett, you can choose one or two Shopify sites to focus on at exactly 10 a.m. Eastern Time, since those will also be some of the ones to sell out the quickest. If I had to pick two for you guys, I would typically pick DTLR and Jimmy Jazz, since Shop Nice Kicks and Shoe Palace shipping rates are very high. Regardless, both of these will still be harder than Hibbett in my opinion. So in conclusion, your 10 a.m. first come first serve should be Hibbett, but these are your alternatives if you do desire. Now, right after those first come first serve drops are over, or even while you're hypothetically waited in the Shopify queue, I want you guys to enter in as many sneakers accounts into the drop as possible. This is going to be your number one chance by far for copying these. But now, what's the most efficient way to cop off of Nike sneakers manually? Well, these are currently loaded as a Dan release, although the grade school and the other sizes are loaded as Leos. Dan drops are also known as draws. You essentially have 10 minutes to enter in as many of your accounts into the raffle as possible. Evidently, the more you can enter within that period, the better your chances will be. I actually made an in-depth updated video, which I'd highly suggest watching because there is much more information to it. But anyway, after sneakers, you normally want to shift your focus to periodically checking Finish Line, JD Sports, and Snipes to see if you have past queue. Finish Line and JD Sports should also be doing exclusive status access a few days before, as I mentioned earlier, and it looks like DSG is not loaded as of yet, so DSG unfortunately might not be dropping these. Regarding Snipes, if you do pass the queue here, it is definitely possible to cop manually, but passing the queue is of course the most difficult part. In Gargantua AIO and Endurance, we do provide bypass links, so it's often a manual cookout here, but it's still possible to pass naturally. Make sure to follow Endurance and Gargantua AIO on Twitter if you're interested in restocks on either of the two, however. Foot sites in general are definitely not worth your time. It's impossible to copy here manually, so forget about there. Also, just open one tab only for Finish Line and JD Sports each. Too many will get your IP address banned, as these sites are very sensitive. They should should be doing exclusive access to, as I mentioned earlier. But anyway, that will be it for the how to cop portion of the video. Now with the how to cop out of the way, let's move on to the resale predictions. First of all, stock on these is just about average for Jordan 4, a fair amount less than what we saw on the military black Jordan 4 after the updated stock for those. When it comes to demand, it is no question that demand on these is very impressive, just like the military blacks. Not just for a Jordan 4, but in general for any Jordan, these are looking very impressive. Pre-sale and bids are holding up very well, almost a week out from the drop, similar to again what we saw on the military black Jordan 4. Sale volume is even quite high despite pre-sale also being high currently. It's not quite as high as what we saw on the military black Jordan 4s, but considering these do have slightly lower stock, that does compensate somewhat. Retail is $200 rather than $210 that we have seen on the other recent Jordans, so that's good. An extra $10 is always great. Therefore, this should leave more than sufficient room for profitability with a good margin, especially in the large sizes, but not as good as what we saw on the recent military black 4s. Definitely a good release regardless, though personally, I am going full throttle on all sizes. I'll also be making a seller hold video the day before the drop, so make sure to subscribe and enable post notifications for that. But anyway, that will conclude it for today. You can feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable, fast residential proxies. Also, feel free to follow Endurance on Twitter for updates on restocks or key giveaways, and the same goes for Gargantua if you want to keep up with the progress or restocks. Last but not least, make sure to follow Keith Adam 10 and Personals for you. This way you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was mentioning today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and of course, good luck on this release.